Confident.
At least there's some sort of Dark Confident. Yep, cool.
Yeah,
Alright.
That was a truly dismal draw.
It was. Thank you for watching anyway, this awful game, Match of Magic the Gathering.
Yeah, the two featured matches in Highlander have been underwhelming so far, but there have been some really good Highlander. So hopefully we'll get a bit luckier in the...
Our wonderful host is looking to see if he can move a game, which is currently going, in a match which is in between rounds, in between games to the feature match table.
Okay,
so we might have some more stuff to commentate on.
Yeah, that would be good, because there's a lot of really interesting decks out there. This matchup could have been interesting, I think, except the games were all dismally one-sided.
Yeah, I don't know how good White Weenie is nowadays. It seems like...
it's meant to be consistent, that's its main strength. And
sure, but every deck is consistent now because the mana is so good, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if your opponent never does anything, the number of games where you actually have color issues, not just only having one land or whatever, color issues is minimal, right? If you never have to worry about Wasteland or whatever, which is obviously a factor by itself.
Okay, Isaac versus Alec Ferguson might be coming over.
Right. But
that should be good.
That makes sense, right? I think.
I think these two players, I'm fairly sure Alec has no chance of getting top 8. He's currently 1-3.
Is he?
Yeah, Isaac might have been paired down though.
Oh, back to the booth. Hi.
But I think that matchup will be extremely interesting to watch.
Yes, I hope so too.
I've seen Alec's deck, and I really like it.
Oh, do you want to just go over that for the viewers?
That's okay.
Yeah, if you just want to talk about Alec's deck a little bit.
Yeah, Alec is basically, he's gone with a plan of just playing his 4 favourite colours, which is everything but green as it turns out, and playing all his favourite spells. But apart from just playing powerful cards, he's also found a few good synergies. And it's one of the few decks here that I think is playing a main deck Colligan's Commander card I'm really quite fond of in formats like this.
It does seem to be very powerful if you're trying to do any sort of resource advantage game, just because there are so many incidental ways for it to get value.
Yeah, and also he has a lot of creatures that he has, obviously Snapcaster Mage is one of his points, and so he has a lot of creatures that become almost degenerate with the recursions you can get.
Right.
So yeah, this should be... Isaac won the first game apparently. I don't know what Isaac's on.
Some elf deck. I would assume some elf deck, but...
he might be playing...
some deck with elves, not like...
Yeah, he's going to be playing green mana producing dogs and his favourite equipment, and probably... If he's playing with... I think he's been on Dark Band, a deck he calls Dark Band, which is essentially a white-blue-green deck that splashes black for the abilities of Deathrite Shaman, and also I think he has Lingering Souls, maybe?
Right.
He might also have Zealous Persecution in sideboard, and I think he's playing a Siege Rhino.
Sure.
But predominantly, most of the spells are white, blue, and green.
Right, but the mid-range equipment deck that's been basically, has literally, dominated Highland for the last 3 years, basically.
Yeah. So it's
in some form or another.
Yeah, fairly close to Ben DeStefano's 8-point band list.
Right.
I think, just in style and pace.
So hopefully we'll get going soon. But yeah, Sarah, you should definitely move to Melbourne. Melbourne is great. I figured since no one said anything in chat for a while. Someone say something in chat. Or don't. It's your choice. Cool. So, Alec is on the play?
Yep, well he lost the first game, so that would be natural.
Uh-huh.
And I don't think he's going to choose to draw in this format. It doesn't seem to be that kind of format.
Ponder, something, brainstorm. Is that Mental Note?
May have been Mental Note. He is playing Mental Note.
Yeah, it looks like a...
Yeah, he's playing quite a few Delve cards, and so he's got Thought Scour and Mental Note in his deck.
Yeah, I've actually been...
and also because he's got cards like Snapcaster and Tasker in his deck.
Meaning to try and make those cards good for a while.
Yeah.
There's definitely time to play, cantrips in Highlander, most...
Yes.
In most games. Yeah. In almost all games you have, free time. You never... There aren't very...
Well, Zoo is the highest pressure deck, I think.
Right, and even that, tries to play 3 and 4 drops,
Yeah, and it doesn't try to kill you till turn 4, sometimes 5 if you leave it alone. So you certainly get setup time in this format, which is one of its great appeals.
Yeah, and so being able to increase the number of relevant cantrips you can play, cantrips which actually do something and not nothing is, I think, one way to increase the average power level of your deck.
Yep, and he's kept his cards on top with the Bonder. Now, Ponder with Mental Note's actually quite a strong interaction. Yes, you're right. Isaac is playing mana-producing green creatures.
We will hold our surprise.
To nobody's surprise whatsoever, yeah. Yes.
Did you end up playing the Highlander tournament a couple of weeks ago?
No, I did not.
Me neither. I was wondering,
It was only 14 players, and then Gene Holland won that one.
Cool.
Playing actually Escape Shift deck in Highlander.
What's going on?
So he's playing really hard to deal with, high cost spells,
Is
and
that
lots
a
of ramps.
Badlands? Yeah, that's a Badlands as far as I can see. Yeah.
Okay, back to this game. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's gone turn 2 Tasiga. Okay.
I mean, like, the thing is, it's not this. The equipment midrange deck has a lot of removal spells, I think.
I'm not sure the equipment mid-range X plays Lanarelf. I'm still not quite sure.
He might be playing Flash or something.
I can see he's got Underground Sea in his hand.
Oh, okay.
So, and yeah, I don't actually know what Isaac is playing. I'm sure it'll become apparent fairly soon.
Yeah, but I just mean that I think Tasiga is not really at its best in this matchup because they have most of their creatures are evasive. Like they usually.
Yeah, but it has the advantage though that he's got a body on the board now.
Right. Isaac's
not like he'd do anything game breaking on game 2. He might cast a Birthing Pod. That's probably about as bad as it gets. And with the Tasiga actually in play, winning the game for Alec, he can just start dealing with Isaac's stuff.
Right.
And whenever Isaac takes the pressure off, he gets to activate Tasiga's ability and gets card advantage. So it's not game breaking, but it means that Alec is well set up for a. Basically, Isaac has to play Alec's game now.
Right.
Although Deathrite does make Tasiga's life a little bit more interesting.
I don't even know if it makes it worse.
It's hard to say. Yeah.
I mean, like, obviously, being able to choose whether if your opponent has a Deathrite, it makes it worse. But
if you have your own Deathrite, then it's an interesting effect.
Yeah, on average, I think removing cards in the bin against Tasiga, I'm not even sure if that's net good or net bad or whatever.
No,
right?
No, and. In my experience, certainly if Deathrite had hit earlier, it wouldn't have been able to slow down the casting of Tasiga significantly.
Right.
So, Isaac, was that a Skull Clamp in his hand?
I can't see exactly. I see. Is Paul Mitchell just allergic to the feature match area? I like that.
That's a Skull Clamp, I think.
We'll try and get him on soon.
Yeah, I'm sorry, we have to cover Dom more often.
Yes.
So, Paul Mitchell isn't from Canberra, as far as I'm aware. Okay, that's the new Jace.
Yeah, I thought he had a new Jace in hand. I saw a double-sided icon to the left.
And this card's been popping up in all sorts of formats.
Yeah, it does seem good. I put it in Kurgan, which is apparently not that good in Highlander anymore, to my great dismay. But Isaac's playing
evasive action. Which
he might. That means he probably is playing the mid-range equipment deck, right?
Yeah. I think he's playing the Dark Band deck.
But yeah, as I was saying with Jace, it's quite a powerful card, and it seems especially with cantrips, single blue cards are, I think, the best way to make it good. Just because being able to choose when you want to flip it, and get a card off at the turn that you flip it, I think is really sick.
Yep.
On turn 3 or on turn 4, being able to loot, choose which card you want to improve your hand and also get a card out of it without affecting your development very much.
Yeah.
While also having a Planeswalker that they have to deal with.
Yes, certainly it is something to deal with, and the plus ability is actually irritating to play against.
Yeah,
it does really slow down your game.
Like,
it also has the effect in Highlander where if your opponent's down to one creature, you can stop them from getting things like Jitte triggers.
Right.
And so there are some surprisingly strong upsides to. Now this is just an old-fashioned Jace. This one's I think better than Vryn's Prodigy, and it's just bounced the Tasiga, so that's going to be difficult.
Well, at least it means that Alec can Colligan's command it now.
Yeah, because the Deathrite is now unavailable.
I'm not. I think maybe I would have tried to brainstorm end step to get an extra card in the bin to maybe be able to recast Tasiga this turn. But he has decided not
I think he wanted the fetch land.
Well, sure, but I mean, I don't
Yeah, I
know.
know, but maybe getting it. But the thing is, the Jace is still in play, so he gets the Tasica out now.
No, but I mean,
He has to deal with the Jace before he casts his Tasica.
it is possible that he can Colligan's command and
So if he was playing something like Dreadbore, then maybe so he'd have enough mana to fetch Brainstorm, Dreadbore. Yeah, it's still messy.
no, but I mean, I think he could if he had drawn a fetch this turn, which he had. He would have had enough mana to Colligan's command and also play Jace.
Okay.
And also play Tasigo rather, not Jace. Because he now has 4 cards in his graveyard and 3 open mana. If he had End Step Brainstormed, the Colligan's command will be the 5th card.
As long as he doesn't get Jace back with the Colligan's command.
Well, sure, yeah.
So he has to choose different. But he kills the Death Rider and makes Isaac discard a card. There.
No, he kills,
kills the Jace.
That's
kills
the whole point.
Yeah, kills the Jace and makes Isaac discard a card. Just like the Blightning days.
Right.
And then gets to cast his Tasica. So yeah, that would have been quite good.
But of course, it relies on him drawing a fetch this turn, and you do lose out on the.
He has 3 chances of getting a fetch. He has to get a fetch in the next 3 cards.
Right.
And there's a small chance of getting locked out because he just brainstormed and used his last fetch.
Right. Oh, but he does choose to return the Jace. I guess.
Well, yeah, because you can cast Tasica next turn and Jace.
Well, the thing is that if you cast Tasica next turn, then the Jace spends an extra turn not flipping, which can be a little awkward. But I'm not even sure if he wants it to flip right now, so maybe that's probably just fine. Like.
Okay.
Oh yeah, the Skull Clamp came down post command.
Yep, and that's a very nervous-looking Lanarelf.
It knows its eventual fate.
Yep, but the Pilgrim has taken one for the team.
Mm-hmm.
And Isaac's fetched a Flooded Strand, I think.
I believe that is what it was.
Yeah. And it looks good for Isaac at the moment, but okay, I think it's a Jitte in Alex's hand.
Yes, and a Sword of Feast and Famine, I believe.
Yep, both of those cards are very good here.
But it does look like it's going to be a while before he'll be able to mobilize either of them.
We need to resolve a creature, have it not die. Is that
Titania?
Yeah. Okay, that's gonna get messy, I feel. There's a Polluted Delta from his graveyard.
I think it was a Flooded Strand that
got
got
a Flooded
sacked.
Strand again, so the same one. Okay. I think at this stage it might be a little academic. We have a 5/3 Elemental. Yeah, so that's a 2-turn clock that Alec is currently facing down.
Yeah, it seems like Titania by itself presents us, even if you don't have anything else but a fetch, it presents a sizable advantage.
Yeah, the fact you get the bonus land is...
I mean, it's definitely being used to good effect here to...
Yeah. But that's a card that emerged from the 2014 Commander set.
Yes, I believe
they were the monocolor decks, and that was one of the alternate generals for the Freyleys Planeswalker deck.
Oh, right.
And that card's actually seen quite a lot of play in Highlander. Not much in other formats, as far as I'm aware. Obviously, it's not allowed in Modern.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I know that Dan Unwin played it in the deck that he and Jeremy top-8'd the last Highlander event at.
Right.
Or
the last one that we were at.
And Gene Holland, I think, may have played it as well in his ramp deck. So yeah, it turns up in all sorts of strategies. It feels a bit like Thragtusk, where it's just a card that's so good and you get value for it, whatever happens.
Right.
And it's a 5-cost 5/3, so...
yeah, instead of gaining 5 life, you get a 5/3, which is better if you're ahead.
And you also get an extra land, so...
Right, better when you're ahead, but worse when you're behind. Well, I mean, the extra land is about the same. You can compare that to the 3/3.
Yeah.
Or whatever, right? So.
Yeah.
Stoneforge missing. I suspect that may not be especially relevant.
Yeah.
I mean, doesn't he already have 2 pieces of equipment in hand, I think?
Yeah, I mean, the Stoneforge has the advantage that it can get equipment out, but I don't know if he's playing Batterskull. Only Batterskull would be...
Okay. Oh, Radiant Flames.
So he's playing Batterskull. So he's still on 17 life, which means he might be able to stabilize the board with this. But Isaac has a handful of cards and a skull clamp available.
Yeah, letting that skull clamp run rampant, like not that he had a choice,
not that he had a
obviously.
choice. Or he could have killed it with the Colligan's command, I think.
No, it was
It
a
wasn't
turn.
play?
Yeah.
Oh, cast after the Colligan's command. Okay. And chase. Yep.
Oh, gross.
Oh, it's been dazed. Okay, that's. Yep. That's. Yeah, I can't see Alec pulling out of this one.
Me neither.
Yeah, Skullclamp is a spectacularly unfair card. And because of the relatively slow pace of this format, it seems to be particularly strong in a format like Highlander.
Right. And people who are new to the format might not even realize this, but it was 1 point from the conception of the 7-point list up until like 6 months ago.
Yes, it was only given its second point fairly recently, and the first point it was given when they merged there used to be a Highlander system in Canberra and a Highlander system in Melbourne. They're still the two main cities that play Highlander, and there was a 5-point list and a 10-point list, and they merged to one 7-point list. So 7 seems like a strange number, but really it was a compromise between the 5-point list and the 10-point list. Right. And the players from Canberra mostly tend to favour combo decks and didn't really think creatures were any good, and so they actually didn't like the first point on Skullclamp when it came out. But looking at Highlander as it is today, it's really hard to argue against either of its 2 points.
Mm-hmm. What if we added another point? You'll have to take that up with
the committee.
Yeah,
yes.
Not us.
But that certainly is an idea that's been muted by a large number of people. It does seem to draw many more cards than Ancestral does.
Yeah, I mean, like, now that it's at 2 points, we are like, how did we think this was ever fair at 1?
1 point. Nobody, anybody who was playing Skullclamp previously kept it and cut something else. Nobody cut Skullclamp.
Yeah.
The second point didn't scare anybody off at all.
Yeah.
Just as many people are still playing it. So the second point was certainly a good idea. 2 is probably right, I feel.
We'll see.
But when you naturally draw a card like Skullclamp, it does seem like a particularly unfair game of Magic when your opponent hasn't got an answer.
So yeah, it seems like Alex kind of in a hole this game, like since
Jace bounced Tasica, really.
Yeah, since basically which is what I was saying, I guess, that the banned equipment deck seems to have a reasonable number of ways to remove a creature, or like they're not too troubled by early aggression. It's not like they need to protect their life total at all costs. They're just trying to develop their board presence, really. So one Tasiga isn't. Yeah.
So as it panned out,
I cut a Mox to keep Clamp. Yeah, exactly. Like even when Zoo got to play Moxen, it was easily worse than all of the other 4 points the deck had. Like Stoneforge, Wasteland, Strip Mine, Steel Shaper's Gift, or like maybe those were all at different periods in time. But
mostly what happened when Skullclamp got the point is that nobody was able to play Mox anymore.
Right.
I don't think I've seen a list with an aggressive deck with Mox in it since then.
Yeah, it would seem difficult. Like now that not all of the good pointed cards are blue, like now that even non-blue decks have ways to spend 7 points, like, and get actual good cards.
Yeah, well, you've always got lands like Strip Mine and Wasteland to fall back on as well, so you can always fill out your points with relatively oppressive lands.
Yeah. What's going on? Preordain and Alec is trying to work out how he doesn't die instantly.
Yeah, it could be tricky for him. Yeah, I think he basically needs a Wrath Effect, but I'm fairly sure he's not playing them.
It would seem strange given what we know of like his hand and his board.
Well, he's playing a relatively creature-heavy deck. And so I don't think he's playing Supreme Verdict in his 75.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, people try and jam Supreme Roths in general into these Stoneforge Mystic decks, and it just never seems to work. Like,
yeah, it always seems like the sort of thing you should be able to do. You just need to be slightly behind on board, and it's amazing. But in play, it doesn't play out very well. So, well, that's gonna.
It's a plow, yeah.
It's Swords of Plowshares, which means he's going to have to. Oh, he has the Batter Skull available, so if he reduces the number of 5/3s he's facing, so the Batter Skull will actually.
Isn't he still dead?
Does he have White Mana available?
I'm pretty sure he's still dead because Isaac can just attack with the clamp the 5/3 and attack with it, and then Pride Mage the Battle Skull.
Yeah, so he gets to attack for 7.
Oh no, but then Alec can just chomp with the Stoneforge.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Oh wait, isn't this just the same? Oh no. Wait, isn't this just the same situation?
Well, no, with the Spell Pierce.
Alec has to chomp with.
Yeah, no. If you paste the Spell Pierce, he can't cast the Battle Skull.
Pretty sure the stone. Oh, I see. He can't.
So Stoneforge has to chomp now. So he's still in the game technically.
Right.
But it's not looking anyway good.
Yeah, and I'm sure Isaac can come up with something. What's that card that he drew? Do we know?
I didn't see it. Sorry.
Me neither. I guess it.
So he's. Okay, so he's clamped his. So he's spreading his damage.
Right. And
so rather than getting 7 points chump blocked, he's going to attack through and do at least 3 damage, which means that either of his creatures is lethal next turn, because the Kusali Pride Mage attacks by itself for
4.
4.
Right.
Yeah, which will be Alec's life total if he blocks the. Oh no, he kills it. Okay.
That makes sense, right? Because if he pod. If he gets a pod into another creature, then that.
That would be devastating. You could put it into Kitchen Fix or something. Okay.
Oh, a spell? Lingering Souls.
Lingering Souls, okay. It's just rubbing it in. Yeah, I can't see any way of getting back from this.
If you can, post your ideas for how Alec can win in chat.
Yeah,
most realistic idea. No, not most realistic idea. Best idea. We'll shout out. We'll get a shout out. See, audience participation is the key to a good stream.
Okay. Yeah. I'm trying to think of anything at all that he can do. Isaac, is that Force of Will in his hand?
No, it's negate.
Negate, okay. So Isaac has negate open.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so everything went Isaac's way that game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the Tasica turn 2 start seemed okay, but that was the only creature that Alec had drawn.
He had the Jace as well. Oh no, not.
I had Jace, but Jace can't actually activate Jitte.
Yeah, sure.
So,
creature in some sense.
Yeah. So even, at least Stoneforge has the advantage; it can deal combat damage with the Jitte equipped. But yeah. So had a reasonably good start, and then just Isaac was all over him after that the first few turns.
Right. So there's only 2 matches left in the round.
There's.
Yep. So we're just going to go back to our wonderful faces.
Yeah. Won't that be great?
Yes, it will be great. Come on, that's what the viewers want.
Yes. Yeah, I can't imagine why. Okay. So this is the end of the 5th round, more or less. There's still 2 games going.
Yep.
I don't know what time is like. Next round will be the final round, and that will be Modern again.
Yes.
And we haven't seen Modern since the first round. So because they randomly did it, there's not really any control over when these formats take place, and so the first and last rounds were Modern. And also it's a 17-player event, and because of the way they want an even distribution of all the 3 formats, they were basically bound to play 6 rounds.
Right.
So I think it's actually Swiss plus 1.
Oh,
cutting to top 8.
Of course, right. So actually, X2s will make it.
X2s will
definitely,
almost certainly make. I think they have to. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not very good at the maths, but with 17 players and 6 rounds, there are some atypical ID choices available and all sorts of things. So it's not entirely clear who's actually going to play next round.
Yeah, right. We might.
And how important these people think that the Swiss play draw rule is going to be.
Yeah, because for some decks it is really important. Like,
yeah. definitely. And also, a lot of people are going to be locked already just because there's the bonus round of Swiss.
Right, because they'll have 4 wins, right?
And so a lot of players who could potentially ID won't have any incentive to them or want to get higher up in the Swiss. So,
E. Bethman, there is about 10 minutes left in the round.
okay, there's about 10 minutes left in there. That's good. Sorry, I keep on coughing. I've got a bit of a cold.
That's okay. So, yeah, Modern. What do you know about Modern?
I've seen a few decks. There's a few twin decks going around. Somebody is playing the obligatory
Some card?
Amulet.
Oh, Amulet,
deck.
yes.
That
deck's going very well, apparently.
Well, the deck is extremely powerful.
Mm.
And also there's a Lantern of Insight deck, which is probably the most frustrating Magic experience an opponent can ever have. That deck is not a great joy to play against. I think it's kind of amusing the first time, but it does. The novelty wears off fairly quickly.
Yeah, when you have to play actual matches against it.
Yes, and you have to actually die. If you don't want to resign, you have to go, well, my opponent might just... The thing is, because you know you have answers in your deck, there's a small chance that things will conspire to allow you to actually draw and play them. And so you don't really want to resign until such time as all those chances have been eliminated. But the probability of them actually turning up in a way that you have control over them is very, very small.
Right, it's minuscule, right?
And also the Lantern deck is reasonably hard to pilot. And, well, there's a lot of errors you can make.
Right.
So... I think Matthew has a fair bit of experience playing it, though, so he seems, from what I've seen, to be a fairly good pilot of the deck. But there's also a chance that the player who pilots the Lantern deck just makes a mistake. They might get trapped with a card in their hand and get attacked when they have the ensnaring bridge out. They might misread the value of a particular card, not seeing a particular line of play that you might be able to make, and allow you to draw something that actually is bad for them. So format knowledge is really important. Sideboarding is very difficult. But by and large, as far as I can tell, nobody's really prepared for the deck.
Right.
And so, yeah, there's a very narrow range of cards that are quite good against it.
Well, it did win a GP recently, right?
Yeah, so people should be better prepared for it.
Than they are.
Although that being said, I don't think there's any lands in the Legacy field, and lands is just completely dominant in Legacy at the moment. So,
I guess they're basically the same deck, right? Like it and Lantern have a similar game plan.
Yeah, just do something completely left of center, and basically assume your opponent's deck doesn't understand how to interact with your plan, and just change the rules of the game to such an extent that your opponent's deck doesn't function, and hope that the very small number of cards that impact your opponent's deck aren't available between your deck and your sideboard.
Right.
Yeah. Another thing with the Lantern deck is sometimes it's hard to beat it twice if you lose the first game, and so sometimes
time concerns.
Yeah. So if you have a good sideboard against it, often it's a good idea to simply resign early against the deck.
Yeah.
Which is difficult for some players, and sometimes it's the wrong call as well. So,
yeah, it's really hard.
There are some very difficult choices to make playing it and playing against it. What other decks have I seen, though? I'm fairly sure Ben Hawk is playing Jund because he's allowed to, and the deck's quite good in the format. Julian, I would also assume, is playing Jund.
Yes, I believe so.
I don't know how they're faring in the standings, though. What was Dom playing in Modern? I assume he's been featured.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know.
If anyone knows, they might want to tell us.
Yes, that would be good.
Or some decks which have shown up in general.
Yeah. And after this next round of Modern, there's going to be obviously the cut to top 8.
How exciting!
And they are using the Swiss play draw rule, so the higher you finish, the better your...
Right.
The person highest in the Swiss will get to choose to play or draw.
Yep.
And also the formats are random in a random order again. So nobody knows. I don't think they know what order the finals are going to be in.
Yeah.
So
right.
At the start of round 1, the formats were given to everybody at the start of round 1, but not before the start of round 1. And then at the start of the top 8, they're going to be given the order of the 3 formats for the top 8.
Right. So it is totally possible that if you have maybe your Modern deck that cares very much about going first, then you might not know what the chance of you actually playing that deck is.
In the first round.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Yeah, that makes sense, right? Because if you're like,
The thing is, the decision to it also impacts the decision to ID.
yeah, exactly.
If you
That's
know
what I
that
mean.
modern's going to be first and your modern deck really needs to go first, then being in the top four is much more important than being like first or second against being fifth or sixth.
Yes, exactly. That's what I mean.
So
Like,
yeah, yeah.
because
So,
being fourth, like,
so yeah, the order of this round certainly has an impact on whether to ID or not.
right? Because
There's 7 minutes left for this round.
oh,
Apparently.
cool. So we will get to Magic the Gathering soon.
Yes. Well, then we have like the logistic nightmare of doing pairings and having everybody finish. And only one game left though. Okay, so it's nearly done. And hopefully there are less technical issues. The last one. Oh, it's done.
Oh, cool.
That's good.
Yeah. So we should get to Magic the Gathering soon.
Okay. So we're going to do commentary straight through the next round.
I assume so. Do you
Okay.
want to do commentary for the next round?
I might take a bit of a break.
Okay.
Just
sure.
talking.
Do you want to find some other person who wants to do it?
Just 5 minutes. Do you want to?
You do want to do next round though.
Yeah, I'll do next round.
Oh, okay, sure. Yeah, we'll take a break for 5 minutes and then come back. Be back with you soon.
Yep. Okay. Thank you.
Bye.
But if you're used to Diet Coke, then there's no choice.
Sure.
Once you, yeah,
This is what you get to hear us talk about.
yeah, talking about different types of Coke.
Yes.
Diet Coke is preferred to Diet Coke people than Coke Zero because it isn't as close in taste to regular Coca-Cola. Amazing insights.
But yeah, so we'll be commentating the match of Modern.
Yep, not quite sure who's playing this one yet.
No, we'll find out shortly.
The possible pairings, I think it might be Carl Air versus Matthew Larkham, unless they ID. And that matchup would be Infect versus Lantern Control.
Which would be very interesting, actually.
And another matchup, which is possible, is Dom, who's been covered 3 times, and Paul Mitchell, who hasn't been covered.
Everybody is playing.
Everyone's playing, which is great. That's what you really want. So this is one of the advantages of having Swiss plus 1. Because there were 10 people in contention with IDs, then...
We want Julian. We want Julian, right? Yeah, we want Julian.
Julian to play.
Yeah, we want to cover Julian.
Okay, he's playing John versus... Julian 2.
Yes, Toe. And if he doesn't... Oh, Julian is drawing? Or... What's happening? We'll find out for you shortly. If you can't get Julian, get Paul.
Yeah, Paul versus Dom, which is Grixis Twin versus Grixis Control.
Yeah, but I don't know if we want to feature Dom for like the 3rd round in a row.
Yes. Yeah. Or 4th of 5 rounds.
Paul and Dom.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Which I believe favours Dom.
Oh, what was the matchup, sorry?
It's
Twin
Grixis
versus Control.
versus Grixis Twin.
That's interesting. That's probably the defining matchup on Modern at the moment, right?
Yeah, I think it's going to be
that
a good one to see.
Yeah.
But I'm fairly sure that...
right, having Twin is not... it's always been the case that having
the combo
Twin
is a liability against a deck which is essentially the same deck with extra removal.
Yeah.
So playing a creature enchantment just gives your opponent a free 2 for 1.
Well, and it's Paul Mitchell, MIT... CH.
ELL?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't know what Don's surname is.
But yeah, it's always been the case that you want in those kind of matchups, you want to become more control-y anyway.
Yes. Yes. I'm not sure if the decks, because they're playing Grixis now, I don't think they play Desolate Lighthouse anymore.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, the old 3-colored decks didn't play.
Yeah. The common tactic in the 2-color match was to just simply discard your Splinter Twins to Desolate Lighthouse and not worry about that and just start attacking the Snapcasters like a real Magic player.
Yeah, and try and get some actual cards which might have a chance of being relevant.
Yeah, mostly Snapcasters.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Electrolyze to the dome and attack with my Snapcaster.
Alright, so we will see it soon. Yeah.
Okay, so it is Paul Mitchell and Dom, as we said. And Paul Mitchell is on Twin, I believe, Grixis Twin. And
to the left?
Paul Mitchell to the left is on Grixis Twin. And Dom, I understand, is on Grixis Control, although I haven't seen
Oh, it's the other way around, apparently. Yeah, that's cool.
Oh. It's not what I just asked Paul... Oh, okay.
No, yeah, as in... we believe that Dom is on the left. Yeah, Dom's on the left.
Dom is on the left and Dom is playing the Control deck.
Yeah.
And Paul Mitchell is playing the Twin deck.
Well, I see not very much of either player's hand, but I see a Remand in Paul's hand, which is
no
always...
surprise to anybody.
Yeah, no surprise to anybody, but always definitely very useful in these sort of slow matchups.
Yeah.
Probably more than in fast ones, that's for sure. What is that card?
One of the best uses of Remand in a matchup like this is you wait until late game and you Remand your own spells.
Yeah, remanding your own spells is always better than remanding your opponent's.
It's functionally a dismiss when you do that.
Yeah.
So it's actually a 2 for 1 if you get to counterspell and draw a card.
Right. A Serum Visions has just been cast.
Yes.
Yes. I didn't know what that art was, but apparently it's Serum Visions.
That's the FNM promo Serum Visions.
Yes.
And they've both started with Steam Vents.
Okay. Cool. So we have some deck lists. We will be poring over them for the viewers.
Yeah.
So I'm here looking at Dom's deck list.
And I'm looking at Paul's.
Do you want to look at Dom's? We'll go over Dom's first. Dom's looks like quite a standard control list. He has a couple Anglers, some Jace Vryn's Prodigy. Is that usual in those decks?
It's one of the cards you sort of on the horizon.
Right.
It's in the pool.
Yeah.
2 Jace Prince Prodigy is not completely unusual, but it's certainly not like playing 6 Snapcasters. The 4 Snapcasters are their own thing, and Jace is a decent filler.
Right.
Against decks where the Jace is unanswered, it becomes really quite powerful. And because it's functionally a planeswalker, but literally a creature, it has all sorts of extremely pleasant interactions with Colligan's command.
Right, because you can get it back. Oh, it actually seems like a Jace is entering play now. A black SDCC. Oh, SD. I think that's the right acronym.
Oh,
actually.
there's the San Diego Comic Con. Oh, they actually printed them, did they?
I believe so. They've had them for
everything since M14, I think. So M14, M15, and Origins. Yep. Okay, so that's the.
Always.
I assume that's the most expensive Jace you can have. So.
Surely, and it also
Dom
looks
likes
like
expensive cards.
a pain for commentators, i.e. us.
Yes, we can't. We're going to have to guess it's a plane. Well, it's obviously a Planeswalker.
I mean, we have the deck list, so that we know, it's Jace.
I'm fairly sure it's Jace. It's Jace the Black Smudge.
Mm-hmm.
So he's got 2 Tassigers, 1 V-Click, which is...
V-Click as usual, I think.
And Gurmag Angler. So, and then a fairly conventional set of spells.
Mm-hmm.
He has 2 Cryptic Commands. That's fairly high-end.
Well, I mean, if you don't have the twin, you need some way to get advantage in the mid to late game, right?
Yeah.
If you can't just close the game out, if they're not scared of tapping out in their turn because you can't kill them instantly, you need some way to punish them for casting a big spell in their turn, right?
Yes.
And Cryptic is one of the best ways to do that.
Yeah, and also he's playing Gurmag Anglers and Tassigers, so he can actually just tap his opponent's creatures down and kill them late game. So
it looks like the Jace has flipped. It looks exactly the same.
It's the same on both sides.
Yeah. It has it flipped? Well, it must have flipped, right?
No, it only flips when you have 5 cards.
Isn't that what happened?
Oh, okay, so he flipped and then he cast an Angler.
I don't know why it doesn't have a die on it or anything, though.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah,
it does now. It's definitely flipped. So it's the face-up one, which is... I can't remember what
I don't know what it's called either.
It's called. Dom doesn't seem to be playing Remand.
Oh. Actually, that makes sense, actually.
If you're not, Mana Leaks, yeah.
If you're not trying to twin them
he's not trying
out.
He's not trying to temper them out. He's trying to actually go the long game.
Yeah, one of the best parts...
Remand should be a asset in the first game.
Yeah, definitely. Yep, and should we now look at Paul's deck list?
Paul's deck list. So Paul's playing the full complement of 4 Splinter Twins and 4 Deceiver Exarchs.
4 Splinter Twin, 4 Exarch. Yep, and no Pest...
two
Pest Mites.
He's playing 2 Pest Mites.
Yep, so 6 and 4 I think is the usual.
And he's got 2 main deck Spell Skites as well.
Oh, okay.
And he's playing Desolate Lighthouse in his main deck.
Right.
2 of them, in fact. So obviously not too concerned about the Blood Moon match. And he's playing 4 Remands.
2
as well.
And 2 Electrolyze. Where does he get all these slots? Who knows? But anyway, it looks like it has a reasonably standard twin package. But being so committed to the combo in game 1 is a huge seems like a huge liability here.
Yeah, but he does have the Desolate Lighthouse, so he can go around. And the Remands, mid to late game, the Remands play like dismisses in this matchup.
Sure, but I mean, when his opponent has resolved... Oh, he doesn't have Cryptics. That's the thing.
Yeah, so... the resolved Jace could just be
and the resolved Gurmag,
Yeah, the Angler's not good because he's not playing. Is he playing Terminate? He's only playing 1 Terminate. So Dom's playing 2 of those. Yes.
Anyway, yeah, not having Cryptics or
and he's not playing Rise Fall either.
What's Rise Fall?
That's the split card from Dissension.
Oh, the hymn.
Yeah, it's a hymn, but also it can bounce creatures.
Right.
I think. I can't remember the words.
Wait, what? Okay, well, let's not speculate. Since we have the deck list, I don't see any need to speculate.
On cards he's not playing. No.
Yeah.
It wouldn't it be good if he played this card? Yeah.
So what do you think the Colligan's command is doing? Discarding...
I think it's getting countered by Cryptic Command.
Oh, well, yeah, you know. And the land's getting bounced as well.
Oh, right, okay, so...
Well, that makes sense, I mean,
It means he can't possibly twin for 2 more turns.
Yeah, and Dom's board presence is quite exceptional already.
Yes.
I can't imagine him needing...
Also, next turn he's able to cast the Cryptic Command again and bounce
do the
a
same
land
thing.
and draw a card.
Sick.
So that's going to be very hard to come back from, even if Paul has a remand for it. Actually, remanding Jace cards is not good because the card doesn't actually get flashback. It's as if the card would go to the graveyard exiled instead.
Oh, it returns
And
to
so
the
if
hand.
Paul remands the Cryptic Command, which has been Jaced, then he actually gets to keep it in his hand.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But as it turns out, Paul is tapped out.
The Jace is called Jace Telepath Unbound.
Yeah, I remember the Unbound. I couldn't remember what.
Yeah, and now we are looking at it. Now we're about to look at it. And then see what it does. The other side.
Yeah, the front side isn't very interesting.
Oh, yeah, cool.
So it lets you. The -3 ability is. It's just off the screen. It was there before.
It's cool. We'll figure it out.
Okay, the -3 ability lets you cast a spell from the graveyard, and if that spell would go to the graveyard this turn, exile it instead.
Right.
Which means that if it gets remanded, then it actually goes to the hand.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so it's not. It's actually the effect on Bosium Strip, not flashback.
Okay, we will save the viewers this confusion.
Too late, I feel, but okay, I'll try. Okay, so Dom has bounced the Tassica, and I assume drawn a card with his Cryptic Command.
Okay, so Snapcaster is getting... Oh, is this in this... Oh, this is main phase,
Main
right?
phase, yeah. Well, Dom is tapped out, so it's probably the only chance he gets. And he hasn't given anything flashback.
Oh, no, you're just playing it and then passing?
Yep.
To chump? That seems strange, like...
It seems like...
Like, surely you would at least try and present the combo kill. Right?
Well, the thing is, if the Snapcaster dies, he does get to cast the Tassica again. So that gives him an extra mana.
Oh, sure.
Because he uses his fetch land to the Snapcaster, that's 2 cards in graveyard, and then he has enough mana to cast Tassica from hand.
Oh, okay. I thought the cards sideways were in his graveyard for some reason, even though that's...
No, they were exiled.
Yeah, right. I see, yeah.
Because he cast it on turn 3.
Oh, that makes more sense.
Well, with 3 land. You know.
We'll save the viewers' confusion by calling it the Bosium Strip effect instead of flashback. Exactly.
Yes.
Precisely. What's going on? It's just being cast at some
that
point.
would be Tim.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
Yeah. Yeah, Dom's start was...
kind of unreal, yeah.
Yeah.
So...
well, unanswered Jace turn 2 is very hard to deal with for a deck like Grixis.
Right. Should we look
but
at the
they have
sideboards?
so many answers to turn 2.
Tassica? Oh.
Jace.
Right.
Well, the one to play, he can't Colligan's commanded. So it got to flip before Paul got to 3 mana. Yeah. So sideboards.
So Paul is already reasonably well set up. Oh no, sorry. Paul is playing Twin, so he's going to side in Terminate. Terminate. Yeah, I guess you need Terminates for their Delve creatures.
Maybe Counter Squall.
Counter Squall. I assume he has a plan against this matchup to just side out all the twin pieces, right?
I assume Sudden Shock goes in because it's an uncounterable answer to Jace.
Jace, right.
It's also quite good against Snapcaster Mage, and it's good with Snapcaster Mage.
Right, so if you side in the Sudden Shock, the Colligan's Command, the Keranos, the 2 Dispels, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and the 2 Rise Falls.
Well, Rise is in the sideboard, yeah. Certainly there's a lot of things that can go in.
Exactly.
And it's no hardship taking out the entire twin combo in this matchup.
Yeah, and maybe a Spell Guide or 2.
You just want to make sure you have enough cards left to win the game with.
Right. Well, like, you can...
Well, you can keep in some Deceiver Exiles.
Yeah.
They're fairly robust.
Like, with 2 Lighthouses, it's not the worst thing to do to keep in, like, you know... When I was playing Twin, if you wanted to side out some but not all of the combo, you could keep in like
we can keep
two,
in one
two Exarchs and a Twin.
Yeah.
And like if the game goes long, you'd like, because the worst thing was drawing 2 twins. You can usually find a use for 1 twin between Snapcaster and the combo.
Yep.
But finding a use for 2 twins is basically impossible.
And also with the Exarchs, you can discard them early and get them back with Colligan's Command.
Right.
So they don't bog up your hand at all.
Exactly. So if you want to, like, it looks like he is siding at... Oh, he's siding at bolts as well. That makes sense.
But there's a lot of cards you can sideboard out. Lightning Bolt doesn't... Well, Lightning Bolt is a cheap answer to Jace, but the Dom's deck only plays 2 Jaces.
Yeah.
So specific cards for that isn't necessarily that good.
Yeah.
So...
should we look at...
Dom's sideboard?
Dom's sideboard? Yep. It looks like he has Lava Mantas, Rending Volleys, Shadowstorms, Thoughtseizes, Damnations, Blood Moons, Keranos. So he'll probably side in the Thoughtseizes and the Keranos, and maybe side out some bolts of his own, and maybe the
He might bring in the rending volley as well, just in case.
maybe
It does kill
yeah.
Snapcaster Mage. I don't think they know each other's lists.
Right. So
And
maybe he'll side in the rending volleys instead of the bolts.
Well, the thing is, rending volleys will always be able to kill Snapcaster Mages, so they will never be completely dead.
Right.
And they might save you from being comboed out.
Yes.
And so
it's uncounterable, right?
It's uncounterable. Yeah. But it can only target blue or white creatures, so there's a very limited field that can actually target.
Right, but compared to Bolt, they're reasonably similar.
Yes,
Since your life total, it's basically impossible to kill your opponent by attacking them a little bit and then bolting them a couple times.
Bolt Snapcaster is often how these grinding matchups go. Sometimes though, you'll find that Lightning Bolt.
Oh yeah, sure.
End step Lightning Bolt, Snapcaster Lightning Bolt is 6 damage, and then your Snapcaster attacks with only 7 turn clock.
Right, I guess because Snapcaster
there's also a lot of shock lands, and often people bring in Thoughtseize. So Lightning Bolt has surprising range in this matchup, just because one Lightning Bolt can get cast on the dome twice, and the Snapcaster's combat damage then becomes a real threat.
Right.
So I don't think a full complement of Lightning Bolts is not right, but they're not bad.
No, sure.
Which is not what you expect from a control match.
Right, so we'll see which plan Dom decides to use.
Yeah.
So what should we talk about now? Should we talk about Paul's other deck lists since we have them here?
Yeah, we have all the lists. So Paul is undefeated in the rounds.
Mm-hmm.
He got a bye round 1 because he applied for the event.
Nice.
But he's played. This is his first modern game, so he got a bye for the first modern round, and he won both his Highlander matches and both his Legacy matches. Now in Legacy, he was playing Manalist Dredge, which is a deck I was actually quite surprised to see. Most of the Manalist Dredge these days is the Whoops No Spell deck.
Oh yeah,
But this one is actually a slow roll where it intends to go on the draw, believe it or not, and then discard a Dredge card and then dredge once, and after it's dredged once, it gets to Street Wraith and Gataxian Probe and get its graveyard into its library.
Yeah, I never really understood why these lists were better than being able to play Lion's Eye Diamond.
The problem the deck had was if your opponent force wheels your Lion's Eye Diamond, then you have to draw 2 cards and discard to start going.
Sure, but I mean, you can always just not play the Lion's Eye Diamond.
Yeah,
it doesn't.
Sure. I think they're reading too much into it. To be honest, you're right.
Right. You don't decide just because your opponent might counter your spell to just cut them from your deck.
Yeah. But Contagion.
Contagion is the pitch spell from Alliances.
Okay, right. Yeah.
I don't know. It just seems like the range of cards that Dredge gets to play is so narrow anyway that
giving up land altogether. It means it has no sideboard options.
Yeah, giving up actual good cards.
Well, the real problem with Dredge is it very much has a much worse game in the sideboard if your opponent's prepared for it. And so without playing mana, you can't play legacy staples like Nature's Claim or Chain of Vapor.
Right.
And so,
which are actually legitimate ways to win.
Yeah. Well, basically, your opponent's going to slow themselves down